My vibes up, my stacks up, coming forward, used to back up. Never wanted more in this world, and it's so a better way for these boys and these girls. Hey, yo, I'm tired of the misconstruedness of my situation. Is that even a word? There's no humiliation. I could be wrong despite scholastic affiliations. I'm still a bishop even though...
There is no Coltrane without that black preacher. He might be anonymous, but he has gravitas. Coltrane never forgot it. Connected to his formation as a soulful human being, as an inimitable artist, but as a tradition in which people love because we are who we are, because somebody loved us. It's true for everybody. And I think part of the challenge these days is that we live in a capitalist civilization where it's more and more difficult for people to cultivate the capacity to love. And that goes to Eske's definition of hell in the Brothers Karamazov.
Right.
Hell is suffering from the incapacity to love. I was blessed to write a song with a genius, Bootsy Collins, which says the Nashville. It was the album Funk Capital of the World. The last song actually, the great Bobby Womack. He's on the song, Don't Take My Funk Away. That was for the younger generation. Don't Take My Funk Away. But he wrote a song called When Love is a Threat. Because if you're used to living a life on the surface all the time, and love is reduced to body stimulation and titillation, and image and spectacle, then when the real thing comes,
right.
Ain't an Ash Simpson used to sing about. Ain't nothing like it is. Have you ever tried it for yourself? Yeah. Still getting it secondhand from somebody else. The real thing, love. That's a threat these days. Because it's harder for a person to open up, be vulnerable. Bring their big soul and put it in front of the other person. That's what the jazz musicians do every night. Bring their big soul and heart and say, here it is, what you think of it. What you gonna do with it. Oh, that's the great tradition. That's weaker and weaker. Why? Because the market force is out of control, the greed's out of control, big banks, corporations, buying politicians, reshaping the whole world in their image, TPP, corporate-driven policies. It's all about money, it's all about profits, it's all about wealth, it's all about spiritual malnutrition and moral constipation. That's what it is. That's what it is. Emptiness of the soul. That's why Brother Trump is an appropriate symbol.
Well.
I tell everybody in the world how smart he is. Let the phones be smart, you be wise.
Right. Yeah.
These days, even in school, the highest compliment you can give somebody, oh, I'm the smartest one in the room. So what? Hitler was smart, he was a gangster.
Right.
I know a lot of white supremacists, homophobes, male supremacists, smart as they can be. I'm not impressed by smartness. I'm not promoting stupidity, but there's a wonderful line in the Voice He Sold to Black folk. He says, what happens to black people when they become fully assimilated in the land of smartness and dollars?
Right.
1903. Ooh, how prescient of genius. Du Bois. Smartness separated from compassion and wisdom. Steve Jobs. Beyond smart. Lacking in empathy.
Yep.
To put it charitably. I don't go into the details. Daughter, you all know the story. That's what, again, going back to Yvonne said, Black Bill Gates, come on, Beyonce, you got Nina Simone in your history, girl. In your history. I ain't got nothing against Bill Gates, but he's not exemplary when it comes to fighting for justice. He's very good on charity and philanthropy. That's wonderful. Don't confuse charity with justice.
Well.
All the things are good. All the things are good. Now, it would be nice if he encountered Bernie Sanders' campaign, but Bernie wouldn't take his money. That's called integrity.
Well,
That's called integrity. Jewish brother from Brooklyn, spent time in Vermont, bearing witness to the best of Hebrew scripture. Do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with thy God. That's what it's about. How rare that is in public life. How rare it is. Of course, he's not perfect. We got to push him like anybody else.
Right.
No doubt about that. All of us have to be answerable and accountable.
Would you like this?
Because you see, the greatness of black people is that we've had 400 years of sustained catastrophes. 244 years of white supremacy slavery, 100 years of American terrorism called Jim Crow, lynching every 2.5 days, some black's body hanging from the tree. Strange fruit, the southern trees bear, the great Billie Holiday wrote the thing, and Jewish brother Marigold sang, wrote the words for you. And now we got Jim Crow Jr. We still live on Jim Crow, just Jim Crow Jr. Look at the prison system.
Yes.
Show how the guys work.
Yes.
Look at where people live. I bet you can drop me off in Hartford right now. Jim Crow Jr. at work?
Yes, sir.
Curtis Mayfield trying to make his way today, given Aretha, given all of her genius in the culture of spectacle, if she can't come out there and shake her thing and put her clothes on and so forth, as opposed to grab her microphone and sing a song and touch your song,
Right.
she's going to have a hard time getting in.
Right.
Like Andrew Stone and Jill Scott.
Talk.
Hard time getting in. Because the spectacle's all about what you look like. Can you titillate me? Are you candy for my eyes? And all this other superficial mess. See the difference? But it doesn't mean that we don't have precious young folk of all colors who are still building on tradition. It's just not as highly visible. And they're becoming more and more visible. And I think that is one of the positive things about Sister Beyonce's video. She's the most visible female artist and maybe artist in the world.
Right.
For her to even raise the questions. I mean, everybody talk about it.
Right.
That's important.
it is important.
You give her credit for that. Acknowledge her being the greatest entertainer. I think she is. But she's, you know, she don't have enough, she's not so far from me, but I'm home. But I think I'm right. I'm not a relativist about this.
Right. Right.
People say, oh, that's just because you old. No, there's something called truth. Aretha is truthfully better than Sister Beyonce. Beyonce be the first one to say that, I think, in an honest context. Jay-Z, of course, would be problematic. It's just watch. You got record bias and wrong, that's all right. Appreciate your question. My dear brother, how you doing?
How you doing? My name's Adam. I'm a College of Arts and Sciences, studying communications, media, journalism, and performing arts management. And the whole time while you're speaking, I keep thinking of this one Nina Simone quote that keeps going through my head, and it's she says, as far as I'm concerned, an artist's duty is to reflect the times. So how do you comment on that in today's music landscape? Because I'm really curious about that, especially in today's black music landscape, so I'm just very curious about what you say.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I see you very busy, all those different measures. I hope you have time to get a little bit to eat. But I think it's very important to draw a distinction between thermostat and thermometer. See, a thermometer reflects the climate. Thermostat shapes. So I would even use Nina against her precious artistic stuff. I would say, Nina Simone, coming out of the South, you are a thermostat. You shaped, you didn't just reflect. You shaped the climate. Your songs, your music, your artistry provided the kind of inspiration and empowerment for people who were making history, not just reflecting history. See what I mean? I think what she probably had in mind was people who were arguing for an art that was completely isolated, holding at arm's length any sense of engagement. And therefore, she thought like Harriet Belafonte, like Paul Robeson, like Canada Lee, like Sidney Poitier in the 60s, like Lorraine Hansberry and others, that they use their art to engage the world, Baraka and the others, you see. And she's part of that group. But in a way, even you see that the word reflect, I would say shape. That's the difference between that thermostat and the thermometer. What the great artists do. I mean, Beethoven wasn't a thermometer. He was a thermostat.
Yeah.
Listen to Haydn. Listen. Those who came before. Engage Mozart and say, now here's what Ludwig has to say. And reshape music as classically expressed. Europe at a particular moment, among the well-to-do aristocracy and upper middle classes, that has implications for each and every one of us owing to his willingness to embrace the human family. Thank you.
Hi, Dr. West. My name is Michael Johnson Henry. I'm a arts and sciences student, computer science minor in English. I just want to thank you for the opportunity to ask you a question. I really appreciate you coming to our university. You know, your speech has exceeded every expectation I had for it. And I really thank you for coming.
It's so good to talk to you, my brother.
Yeah, and I just want to know, like, I feel like you probably get a comparison to like Dr. King for your, your activism and just advocating for black rights and everything. And I just wanted to know if Dr. King was alive today, what do you think he would have as, sort of a mission for the youth of America as we are now?
Wow, that's a deep question.
Right.
I appreciate you invoking Brother Martin because he, alongside Coltrane and a few others at the very tip and top of American civilization in terms of vision and courage. The King was an artist too, very important to keep in mind. The sense in which he was a musician in his language and rhetoric, the tonality, the tempo, not just as preacher but as speaker. It's hard to get inside of his heart mind. So I think if he came back to the United States and looked around at the country, he would probably cry for about 3 days. He would be that moved on to what he would have liked to see. If you go, oh, but wait a minute, you got your huge statue in the Oval Office of the first black president. Come on, Martin. He's the fulfillment of your dream. You say, anybody who ever believed that never knew me. My dream is not the dream for highly successful Negroes be in high places. It was for the empowerment of those in the basement. You can break all the glass ceilings you want, but I look at the world, he's a Christian minister, through the lens of the cross. And that cross stands for unarmed truth and unconditional love. I look at the world, the United States through the cross. I look at poor people, Indian reservation, barrio, poor whites, black folk, new immigrants. Yes, it's a beautiful thing that a black man's in the White House. But there were some black mayors when Martin was alive too. He didn't look at the world through their success. He looked at the world through how they were using their success to deal with the least of these.
Well,
That 25th chapter of Matthew that meant so much to him. And of course he'd look around the world. America's role is in the Middle East, in Asia, Africa, Latin America, and so forth, because he was a cosmopolitan brother. But he always connected to ROOTS, his rich roots in Atlanta, Ebenezer Baptist, Morehouse,
Right.
Benjamin Mays, Crozier Theological Seminary, Boston University, with his ROUTES, the routes that he would take. Make sure his roots are strong, so the routes that he takes have integrity. So after he cried for 3 days, probably the first thing he would do is he would join those in the street
yeah.
for the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yep.
He was a marvelous new militancy, these young folk, and they all colors. He would love that. So they all colors because they're concerned about morality, spirituality,
Yeah.
not just some political identity.
Right.
Be subsumed in some pigeonhole or category.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
See, that's the Martin that we love. That's why John Coltrane went to Malcolm X's lecture and said on the third row, everybody said, Coltrane, that's the last thing you want to do. That's want to tarnish your image. They won't sell your records because Malcolm is so unpopular. Coltrane said, you don't know me.
Right. Right.
Do I look like I'm a musical entrepreneur concerned only about constituency and market money? Do you know who John William Coltrane is?
Right.
Do you know my grandfather, my mama? I'm an artist concerned about humanity.
Well,
What do you think about Malcolm X? Highly impressive. Oh, Lord, that's the last thing. Let that go in the press. Malcolm X had about 3% following. How come you tell that? Because I think he's highly impressive. I believe it. Why don't you say something else? I don't like to lie. I'm not getting the mendacity. You know what I mean? Same thing. But it wouldn't be a matter of King saying that we made no progress at all.
Right.
He would say, yes, there's been magnificent progress for the middle classes. There's been magnificent process for black elite. But the poverty is worse.
Yeah.
Communities are worse in terms of working class, working poor conditions. And that's where I start. I could just hear him actually invoking Malcolm X. Martin said, but didn't Brother Malcolm say that you can stab people in the back 9 inches and pull it out 3 inches and celebrate your progress?
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
I'm with Malcolm on that. I'm with Malcolm. But after that, he probably went to a church. The problem is, I don't know, there's not too many churches he could go in that he could actually worship with authenticity.
Well.
These mega churches, they say, oh, you got a mega church, but not too much mega courage and mega love.
Well.
I can't worship there. Oh, we're doing so well. We're the biggest. No, I'm not concerned about being gigantic. I'm concerned about you being great. I want folk on fire.
Yeah.
I want folk come at the cross and turn the blood into Kool-Aid and just dip in just to get your blessing in the form of a Lexus. I want to be washed in the blood.
Well.
I want them to turn their world upside down. They're in the world, but not of it. They're willing to fight. That's what Martin would be looking for. Go to a synagogue. Are they talking about Amos? Or are they talking about the Amdex? Go to a Buddhist temple. Are they talking about the compassionate Buddha? Or is it just a business? A new world spirituality. The guru's really a CEA just making big money. You see what I mean? And I'm just speculating. Your question is deep. I don't have an answer. I'm just speculating.
Bishop Brady. They try to say I'm not graduating. Must have had them hating. Well, I say fuck that with the realist formula commencement go. I'm already here and it's time to switch this hoe. Just give me more credit and let me get this dough. So I can split it with my team. Bounce, live, hop, but drop it and I'll lean. Back to the trap, this crap, now I mean. Now that's not true and that's not hood. Big up to my folks who been moving that and putting in work. I get grinding G and I was good.